Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's concert celebrating the 100th birthday of the composer Elliott Carter, in a programme conducted by his friend and colleague Pierre Boulez and performed by Pierre-Laurent Aimard and the Ensemble Intercontemporain. We begin the concert with some thoughts from Elliott Carter, recently recorded in his home in New York's Greenwich Village on the 26th of October of 2008.
This is a very nice kind of a concert because it's part of a whole world of friends. The pieces that Pierre-Laurent are playing are pieces. One of them, Catenaires, was written for him, and it's very unlike anything I ever wrote before or since. And I was lying in bed one day and I started hearing something in my head like that, and it went on and got worse and worse and more of it. And finally, I felt I better stop it by writing it out. So that's the piece. Catenaires, about 3 minutes, very fast, and also one line. Nothing but the piano plays only one night, but with lots and lots of notes in that one line. So that was written specifically for him. In a way, I would have liked to have written a rather grand piece that he does, of my night fantasies, which he does play. I wish I could have written something like that, but then it's maybe nice to write something like this, like Catenaires, which, in spite of its particular qualities, he seems to have a good deal of luck with it and plays it frequently. It's very difficult to play, I must say. There's never one repeat of anything, and that's hard to remember and hard to keep up with. The other piece is something, the Diaolgues that he is playing with Pierre Boulez, is something I wrote for the London Sinfonietta, and it was first given by Ollie Nussin and Nicholas Hodges back about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was something that, again, I think Nicholas Hodges himself suggested that I write this. He told me that he had some kind of a commission for the BBC, and he would get from some organization, maybe it was the London Sinfonietta, and it came out pretty well. It was a piece that, the thing I can always remember about it is that it ends, I think, on a low, maybe low A, a very low note of the piano, rather softly. And I kept thinking it was like the end of the Davidsbündler dance of Schumann. And there's something of the Schumannesque quality in that particular piece, I think. It's a piece that, like all of my pieces, has a musical form which even I can't describe. It carries on, as it does in almost all my music, with a basic harmonic structure that is heard as a series of chords, and the rest which hold the whole piece together, because the piece always sounds as if within this small frame, although it's constantly changing. And the idea now of musical development, for instance, is something that I've not been very interested in doing. I develop all my ideas only from harmonic structures and not from thematic ideas. And then, of course, the work that Pierre Boulez is conducting, that I wrote, it was commissioned by the Ensemble, is a clarinet concerto, which, again, I worked hard at that because, again, it was for a comparatively small orchestra, and Alain Damien, who was playing it, was a wonderful player, and so I had to give him lots of nice things to do. I realized that if I didn't write, I wouldn't know what to do. I mean, I read all kinds of things, but still, I would feel feel if I was not writing that my life was not interesting anymore, and I'm trying to avoid that situation if I can. I've written. There's a whole sort of a theory being devised by friends that there's late Carter and then there's late Carter. Let me say first that all of I've tried very hard, and I think I always have succeeded in choosing works that I wanted to write that were like an adventure. There was something I had not done before that would be very interesting to me and keep me interested long enough to get them finished. And so each one has its own field of interest and variety. As a result, in recent years, I've become much more interested in just getting rather detailed things that were rather transparent, while before I really enjoyed this great sound that you could get from instruments and from the orchestra and even from the piano. Now I feel that I'm getting more interested in just making little things or making the not very loud or not very big groups of notes sound in an interesting way, at least as far as I'm concerned. I don't feel that I'm writing for consumers. I'm writing for people. Well, of course, the wonderful thing about music is you don't consume it, except the players. The players consume it, perhaps, but it's something that is just like a spirit. It's a lively spirit that gets into people, shows them all the different kinds of feelings that they might have in life, even if they don't experience them themselves. In this 2007-2008 period, I've written a clarinet quintet for a very good, wonderful clarinetist, Charles Neidig, and the Juilliard Quartet. I've written a flute concerto for the flutist of the Berlin Philharmonic, Paoud, that has been played in Jerusalem. I hope I will hear it because it's so far has only been scheduled in places in Europe but not in the United States. But those are the two big works that I've done. And recently I've written a rather curious work on the poems of Ezra, the late poems of Ezra Pound, which interested me a good deal because I've known about Ezra Pound almost my whole life, and I always felt that he was kind of peculiar, and he edited Wasteland of T.S. Eliot for T.S. Eliot and did all sorts of things, encouraged poets, many poets, and then wrote poetry, sometimes very good and sometimes strange and difficult. And I felt that he wasn't thought of enough in this country. I'd set many other American poets, and for a while I thought I'd do E.E. Cummings, and then I decided that I would rather do something that was a little slightly different, a little more interesting, and having a little bit more depth than E.E. Cummings. The reception of music in Europe, particularly with radio and television, is utterly different from it is this country, which the television in this country is entirely built to advertise products. That if the music doesn't keep the listener watching it until the product is described, it's out. So that while you people tend generally to think of music as part of a culture and part of an education, and as a result, my music has been played a great deal more on the radio in Europe than it has here, and therefore I suppose I have more friends in Europe than I have in here.
Well, from Europe, Elliott Carter, we salute you. Thank you very much.
You're very well. Thank you, man.